viewers. You're on Sri Lanka's #1 sports hub, ThePapare.com, and the rugby action unfolds for the week 10 of the Dialogue Rugby League as Havelock Sports Club will join CRNFC for another interesting encounter here at Havelock Park in Colombo. It's wonderful conditions here prevailing at Havelock Park, and we are out to see an exciting game of rugby. I think quite a bit of upsets coming to you in this Dialogue Rugby match week 10 as well. We'll talk about that later as well, but the game on our hands is Havelock Sports Club facing CRNFC for another trophy game which is played for the Matthews Trophy. Joining me alongside the commentary is Abdullah Yusuf. Abdullah, a very good evening to you.
It's good evening, Inshaf. I think it's going to be a very interesting encounter. Havelocks no doubt will be going in as favourites for this game. Currently perched very competitively at that #2 position, very much within breathing distance of Kandy Sports Club. And you have to give a lot of credit to Havelocks the way they have performed this season. They've lost quite a few players from their ranks at the beginning, but I think the newcomers have definitely stepped up, and they have produced some wonderful rugby, and they find themselves within touching distance of Kandy Sports Club.
Quite a bit of upsets in this week as well. Army Sports Club winning that one against Navy Sports Club in the final minute. We'll come back to that later, but the conditions today partly cloudy, and the wind speed will not affect the kickers too much, but surprising inclusions in that CRNFC team card as well. We'll talk about that in the coming minutes, but conditions very, very suitable for fast throwing rugby. Abdullah, expect a good clean game from both sides. I think Havelock Sports Club have been a forward reputed side, but that has changed in the second round. They're trying to play that game a bit more faster, and CRNFC are all out. They have nothing to lose, and they're coming here with a purpose.
Yes, probably the difference between both teams is definitely the forward packs. I think the Havelocks is one of the more dominant forward packs, as we see the new coach of CRNFC, Mohammad Mushtaq, taking over the reins from Nilufar Ibrahim, as we see the Havelock Sports Club team going through their warm-up routine as well. Yes, the Havelocks forwards led by Dushmant Priyadarshana has been absolutely outstanding. Their driving maul has worked impeccably, and they have produced some good attacking plays and provided some good quality ball for their three quarters to run. And the CRNFC's work will definitely be cut out today, especially for them to contain that front row of Liston Flatley, Amzil Fajuddin, and of course Dushmanta Priyadarshana. So that front row is going to play a big part in today's game, and CR's work will definitely be cut out. As we have a look at Kevin Dixon, the CRNFC fullback, warming up, and as you can see, the Havelocks players are just taking a small breather from their warm-up routine. It's pretty chilly conditions today, isn't it, Inshaf? Very interesting to see how the teams go on as they go through their warm-up routine.
So that is the initial intentions. The intentions are clear. Both Havelock Sports Club and CRNFC are coming here with a purpose. We go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have lots to talk about the game, and we'll talk about the team cards as well. You're with Sri Lanka's #1 sports hub. This is Dialogue Rugby League 2018-2019.
Crescent Mini Keeps. Try it. Love it. The original Mini Keeps, only from Crescent.
Breeder Fast, Pulsar NS160 with wider tyres and twin disc brakes from David Pieris Motor Company Private Limited.
Sophisticated selection of Yardley, London. Sophisticated selection of Yardley, London. Sophisticated selection of Yardley, London.
Crunchy munchy.
Fiery Kochi.
Crescent Kochi Bites. Try it, love it. The original Kochi Bites only from Crescent.
Sophisticated selection of Yardley, London.
it's almost over. I ain't gonna let it pull me under. But
A warm welcome this evening from the Havelock grounds as we are looking out across this light-stricken field. as we're expecting the Mathis Trophy, one of the most traditional derby games that we've expected over the course of this Dialogue Rugby League and over the years. As we look out over the dignitaries at the new Havelock's Pavilion, looking out, expecting a Havelock's win today, a home team win. They will be the favourites going in. These are the highlights of CHNFC versus CRNFC from last week. CR started off brilliantly. The wonderful try, wasn't it, Abdullah, with Rafaideen touching down, and after that it was all downhill.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely against the run of play. But as you very correctly said, from then on it was one-way traffic from CHNFC's point of view, running a very comfortable victory. They did score some very good tries, but CR were completely off colour, and they'll definitely have to raise their performance today if they are to keep this very strong Havelock's outfit at bay. So that game ended up 33 points to 10 in favour of CHNFC. And this was the other game, one of the biggest upsets in recent memory, wasn't it, Shanaka?
Stunning match, wasn't it? I think the conditions did help Army as well. Dhanushka Ranjan going over there in the corner, and probably a premature celebration there from Ranjan, because here's Army running some nice lines, running some nice unders lines there, really setting up that Kandy defense for a breach. And then that was a try that Kandy thought might have won it for them, Villavara, but it was a 23-22 win to Army in the end. This is the other game, Air Force taking on Police, and a shock loss here for Police as well.
Yeah, that's right. Police just the previous week had got the better of CRNFC at London Place in a closely fought encounter, and they were expected to come out victorious against Air Force, but Air Force did extremely well to notch up their first victory for the season. And it just shows that the gap between all these teams is slowly but surely bridging as this season is progressing, isn't it, Chanaka?
Certainly is. This has been one of the most competitive league seasons that we've seen recently, since maybe even the early 2000s. Air Force 16, Police 7 is how it finished. Coach Nawaz will be disappointed with that, as he would be with the result earlier today, which we'll talk about in a moment. But this was the big game of the weekend, the one that was expected to go down to the wire. But in the end, Navy just dropping a few too many balls, although they started well. Havelock showing that they were in control right through this game, Abdullah.
Yeah, that's right. It's a very big win for Havelock's for the simple reason that it's never easy to go down to Valisar and beat this Navy outfit. But Havelock's put in a very clinical performance. I thought once again their the pack was absolutely brilliant. They dominated proceedings at line-out time. Their scrum was extremely solid. And today as well, I think CRNFC front row will have their work cut out to hold the front row of Litsan Fatley, Azim Fajuddin and Dushmanta Priyadarshan at bay, because they have been, without a shade of doubt, the informed front row of this Dialogue League thus far.
Yes, they certainly have been. The tight five, in fact, has been excellent, with Sharo, Fernando, Ganidul Lakshan, Umesh Madhushan all playing well in that engine room. We have Air Force against CHNFC 22-29. Navy versus Army, a big upset there again for Army, 27-25, winning that one with a last-minute penalty with a bonus point as well. And Police coming up just short against Kandy, a Kandy outfit that doesn't like to travel to Police Park, and just one score in it in the first round and one score in it in the second round. But Kandy getting that all-important bonus point in this game as well, Abdullah, which means that Havelocks will really need to pile on the points here against this CRNFC outfit if they want to try and overhaul them. They won't catch them, they won't go above them on the leaderboard this time, but they will want to stay within touching distance.
Yeah, that's right. I think from Kandy's point of view, although they were run close, I think it would be a job done from their point of view, because they have got the bonus point win as well. So they'll be pretty happy with that. As we have a look at the points table, as of now, it looks like Kandy Sports Club do seem to have a comfortable lead, but you've got to keep in mind that Havelocks have a game in hand as well. And CRNFC, they'll manage to, I think, retain their place at number 4 due to the fact that Navy is a surprise loss to Army Sports Club. But as you can see, Shanaka, it's all very, very tight, isn't it? And that's just great for this rugby league this season.
Yes, below the first two, it's everything to play for, really. 26, 25, 27. That's between 4, 5 and 6. So everybody's wanting to get into that top 4. CHNFC have created a bit of daylight between themselves and CRNFC. CR will have to win with a bonus point today to try to get up to 33. That'll still leave them 6 points behind. But Havelocks, they're the ones who want to come up to 52 points today. That's what they desperately want, to stay within those 3 points and see whether they can chase Kandy right down to the wire in the final game. When they come into that final game between Kandy and Havelocks, they want to be within 1 win of sealing that league. So that's how it looks like at the leaderboard at the moment. These are the top try scorers and point scorers: Danush Karanjan and Buane Kudangamo with 8 tries each for Kandy in the forwards and the backs. And Samuel Madhuwantha has been a revelation, hasn't he, Abdullah? He's overtaken Tarinder Ratwatha and put real daylight between himself and the second placed kicker. 119 points with a lot more left in the season.
Yeah, that's right. He's been very good for CHNFC. He's just kicked on from how he has done, how he performed last season. Racked up a century of points last season as well, and he's just taken off from where he has left last season. So as we have a look at the first leg encounter between these both teams played at London Place.
This one was the first game that Ratwatha actually chose to go to the outside centre position, and things never looked really good for CRNFC from that selection decision as they went over in the corner. Riza Mubarak had his kicking boots on the day as well. He didn't need them for that conversion though, but it was try after try for Havelocks, and CRNFC barely coming into the game in the first half. Just touched down before half-time, but after that, the second half was all Havelocks. Liston Flatley scoring a try that he would remember for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's right. That's the Havelocks front row. They definitely have a good feel for the try line, isn't it, Shanaka? You have Fajuddin at the back of most of the driving mauls, able to score tries. Dushmantha Priyadarshan, I mean, he's a wonderful ball carrier, props up at the correct moment, and Liston Flatley, not to be outdone as well, is always on there to pick up the loose ball and go over. So they've got some good options, isn't it? And the good thing about this Havelocks outfit is they look a very settled outfit. There isn't too many changes week in, week out like you see with many of the other teams. They understand everyone's roles, and it's the reason why they find themselves within touching distance of Kandy Sports Club.
Certainly are, and it's a tight 5, I think, that makes a difference for them. And as it has been for the top 3 clubs, even for Kandy Sports Club, their tight 5 has really come to the party this season, and their forwards are probably outperforming their backs, which is something that's unusual for Kandy. And even in the games that CHNFC have started playing well over the last 2 weeks, their forwards have been absolutely outstanding. Since 2014, Havelocks in a big lead over CRNFC, 7 games to 2. So the power balance has really shifted in the recent times, and no draws in this game, so don't expect this one to be a really close game. I think Havelocks will probably take it, and take it easy, because CRNFC have had a bit of strife over the last week, Abdullah, off the field as well. They've parted company with their coach Nilfa Ibrahim, and today we find out that Tarinder Ratwatha is not playing, and that's not an injury reason as well. Probably one of the best players in the league, and he's not taking his place. So obviously there is a bit going on in that CRNFC camp, which will probably leak onto the field.
Yeah, that's right. It's never easy, probably losing your playmaker in such circumstances, the coach leaving the scene as well. But it's up to the boys now to just get their act together and just put in a good performance, because it's sometimes these kind of situations, it can bring the best out of a team as well when you're pretty much under the pump. But they will definitely have to play well above themselves today to contain this very strong Havelocks outfit.
What do you think Sanat Martis's plans are going to be? Just go to the set piece, would it be? Because their line out and scrum have been definitely better than Sia's. Their breakdown work also has been much better. So will he try to outrun this Sia team, or will he just try and play it close and see what happens out wide if he has the opportunity?
Well, I think to start off with, they will definitely look at trying to play it as tight as possible, because that's where they definitely have a huge edge over CRNFC. But probably if they feel comfortable as the game progresses, you'll probably see guys like Dinu Kamarasinghe, Sandun Herat, Chamara Dabre coming into play more often, because they can be very elusive as well. But I think to start off with, they will try and just wear down this CRNFC 8.
Last week for Havelocks, we saw Riza Mubarak coming back into some kind of form, scored a try which he hasn't been doing for a long time. He was joining the line and really making a bit of an impact with his insertions into the offensive line. So it seems like a new lease of life for him. It'll be good to see him have a good game against his old club.
Yeah, that's right. It also comes down to confidence, isn't it? He's been kicking extremely well throughout the season, and that's just rubbed off on his general play as well. And when he does join the line, he's just so experienced. He may not be the fastest player, but he's got that ability to just create the overlap.
Dushmantha Priyadarshan, Asmir Fajuddin, Liston Flatney in the front row for Havelock's Shara Fernando and Chanaka Bandara. Umesh Madhushan not taking the field today. Senal Silva, Umesh Madhushan is on the blindside flanker position. Lasundu Karunathilaka, who has been the form number 8 for me this season. Mimiktu Rahul and Roshan Fernando, Chamara Dabare, Dinuk Amarasinghe, Prince Chamara in the unfamiliar position of outside centre, Sandun Herat and Riza Mubarak. Mithun Hapugodas starting from the bench today. Look for him to really do some damage when he comes out towards the end of that game. Look also for Christian Delisle trying to take his chance off the bench. May come on as a hooker, moving up from his favoured position as flanker, which he played at St. Thomas's. And Shaukat Lahir also on the bench. Look for him to really attack the breakdown when he comes on. This is the CRNFC lineup. Himantha Hirushan starts today alongside his Royal former teammates Supan Wannakula Surya, Gayan Jayasekara. Also, the mobility in that front row will be a factor for Sia. Panduka Angamara and Shehan Dias combined. So Dias is back in the lineup after a long layoff. Shamal Veerasekara and Joel Pereira, the other two line-out options. Omarka Gunaratnam will probably be captaining this team in the absence of Ratpatha and Kavindu Pereira. Rahul De Silva starts alongside the unfamiliar name of Steven Sivaraj. Unfamiliar because it's his first start for the club. Reza Rafaidin has played a good season. Rehan Silva and Gamunu Chetia will be an untested combination. Chamod Fernando on the right wing and Kevin Dixon, the danger man, also against his old club. Sven Muller on the bench. Sharana Charmikar, look for him off the bench to make an impact. Mithila Pereira and also Sumudu Rankotke and Chanaka Chandimal, the experience off the bench.
Yes, just looking at both teams, Shanaka, one thing that just absolutely strikes me is the number of changes in the CRNFC outfit as against the changes that have been in the Havelock's outfit. If you look at the Havelock's outfit, they've just made that one change at scrum half, which is a bit surprising because I thought Mithun Hapugod over the last two games has been absolutely outstanding, but coach Sanat Mart is deciding to bring him off the bench in this game. From CRNFC's point of view, there's been a lot of changes in the forwards and the backs as well. It'll be interesting to see how young Steven Sivaraj performs in his first match. It's not easy for him as well, since he's coming to that pivotal fly half position, but was an outstanding talent at St. Peter's, and let's just see how well he goes today.
Well, he's an unknown quantity for this Havelock's defence as well, so that's something that might be a little bit interesting in the early parts of this game. And he's got a willingness to run with the ball, Abdullah, as well. He's got a little burst of speed over the first maybe 5-10 meters. So look to him to take the ball to the line a little bit more. That's something that CRNFC haven't been doing over the course of the last few games that they have lost. But I also do understand the substitution. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back, ready for kickoff.
This match is brought to you by SAGT, proud sponsor of Sri Lanka Women's Rugby and CRNFC. This match is brought to you by EFL, proud sponsor of the Sri Lanka Rugby Referees and Havelock Sports Club.
Welcome back to live coverage here on ThePapare.com. You're watching the Dialogue Rugby League live and exclusive. Under lights from the Havelock Sports Club grounds. Referee in charge today, Priyantha Gunaratna, assisted by Sarat Madugalla and Kalum Sandarawan, who are his assistant referees. It's a big derby game. The man with the ball will be under a lot of pressure. It's his first start for the team that his dad has worked for many, many years. He is the live wire of that CRNFC dressing room, and he will be a proud man to see his son starting in the number 10 jersey, no less, for CRNFC. And against their traditional opponents, Havelock Sports Club. It's the Mathis Trophy up for grabs. Havies have a massive lead in that trophy in aggregate terms, and CRNFC will have to move mountains to get up and try and win that trophy this time. And that's a helpful start for Sia, with Mukti Rahul in a bit of strife with that kickoff, letting the ball bounce. And Rahul De Silva has an opportunity now to send his forwards trundling towards the line, but great work again from Umesh Madhushan. What outstanding work in the tight. And Rahul now has an opportunity to try and counter-attack early doors. Dushmantha Priyadarshan finds himself outside. And they go instead to the short side where they came from. Can't find a kicker, Havelock, so they will desperately be looking for one. Lasindivira Ishan Karunathilaka shepherded outside. by Shamal Veerasekara, who starts a rare start for him.
Yeah, that's right. He'll also bring something to Sia's line-out play as well. But Havelock's trying to play a bit too much rugby in their own half on that occasion rather than trying to just clear the ball. As we have a look at that replay once again. Just going for that break, for that hit up once too often. And CRNFC just doing extremely well. Good hit by Shamal on that occasion, and coupled with Chamod Fernando, but bundling Lasindu Ishan onto the touchline. So CRNFC with a good clean catch.
That's something that we haven't seen too often, with Omalka Gunaratne busting off the back of that line out. And seems like there was a player offside there. The breakdown is absolute mess. But Niroshan Fernando will get the ball away. But it's fallen to the danger man. Kevin Dixon, who knows his ground like the back of his hand, puts the chittle chip in. Can he get there? Ball beats everyone into touch. Vimukti Rahula breathes a sigh of relief. Has something to say to Kevin Dixon as well on the way back. So good to see a little bit of spice in this game early on.
Yes, probably ask him how he's finding his time at London Place. Last season was part of the Havelock SC outfit. But he's been one of the more consistent performers in this CRNFC outfit, has Kevin Dixon. Played very well in the sevens set up for the national team as well, and he's just taken that form in, and he's been one of the few players who has consistently done well for CRNFC this season.
Asmir Fajrin, another very consistent player for Havelock since he moved over from the red shirts. Untidy ball from the line out for Fernando. He's bundled over the line, and Jehan Dias has him up. And it's held up, and it will be a 5-meter scrum. So CRNFC have started well. Whether they can maintain this intensity is a different question altogether. But Havelocks just seem to be trying to play a little bit too much rugby in their 22. They need to clear that ball and get a little bit of distance between themselves and their try line. Really held up nicely there. Niroshan Fernando had nowhere to go. He did the right thing by not trying to offload the ball or to kick the ball into the onrushing defense. So this is a real first test, isn't it? Supun Vannakalusurya and Himantha Hirushan in his first season of club rugby. Gayan Udara, not really a big name against these huge lads from Havelocks. Already Havelocks putting the march on. That's a good break from Omalka Gunaratne, going quickly, but there's nobody with him. And this is where CRNFC really need to improve their game. Protecting the ball at the breakdown has been a real factor in the turnovers that they have conceded. And once again, Joel Pereira does really well to protect that ball because he had no runners with him. Opting to keep it close against this Havies team who love this kind of rugby. Straight through and taking the scrum half, but referee says that's okay. Lasindu Ishan would have had his heart in his mouth. That's a good ball over the top, but Chamod Fernando had not enough field to run into. And Sharo Fernando wrestling the young winger, which means he'll get held up. And it will be Havelock's ball. Chamod Fernando is always going to come off second best in that fight.
Yeah, that's right. I think he needed to go to ground as soon as possible, but Chamra Dabare, assisted by that man Sharo Fernando, just managing to hold him up, and I don't think there was any doubt who was going to win that battle. As we have a look at that replay once again, Chamod did well to cut in, to stay in play, but as you can see, Sharo Fernando and Chamra Dabare just doing extremely well to hold him up and bundle him into touch. So another opportunity for Havelocks to try and clear their lines. And CRNFC will just rue that lost opportunity.
Again, real terrible ball protection at breakdown time for Sia. Havelocks putting the march on. We'll be looking for the penalty. Vimukti Rahula clears. Referee Gunaratne says that's okay, play on. And that ball to nobody. So troubling times for Prince Chamara, who thinks better of being a hero. It's not a great kick, but Chamod Fernando has let it bounce and probably squandered a golden opportunity. Kevin Dixon now. Brought to ground by Fajuddin. That's a good tackle by the young hooker. Would have been dangerous if that tackle was missed. Now they've got some men out wide, but they're forwards. Now Reza Rafaidin. Can he outrun the man into the corner? Puts a little chip in. Still going. The ball is loose. It's anybody's ball, but getting back in time was Dinuk Amarasinghe. Nice and composed Amarasinghe there, knew exactly what the danger was and warded off Gamanu Chetia in touching down.
Yes, that's right. Some good sweeping work by Dinuk, just preventing Sia from getting that score. But it just shows, Shanaka, if they're given some quick ball on the front foot, how dangerous this Sia three-quarter line can be. But unfortunately, they just haven't had that many opportunities. Chetia linking up with Reza Rafaidin just kicking ahead. But I think Amarasinghe did extremely well to read that play and cover the ball extremely well to touchdown.
Good composed play from the youngster, still in his second season of club rugby. Here's Omalka Gunaratne. They're trying to unleash him against this Havelock's defense. Chanaka Bandara bounces off like he wasn't there. Sivaraj with a nice long ball out. That's a superb flat pass from Sivaraj. Risky, but Chamot Fernando does well. Chamara Dabare was beaten by the pass. Here's Sivaraj acting as a scrum half, interchanging with his halfback Rahul De Silva. Now Rahul comes back into the role. Here's Supun Vandakula Surya, but they swarm up on him. Niroshan Fernando leading that defensive line. Gayan Udara. Chanaka Bandara falling all over that ball. 7 minutes and we hadn't had a penalty yet, which is good signs. And that ball coming back, so it'll be a loose one. Riza Mubarak may have knocked this forward. Went back, says the referee. So troubling times for Havelocks at the moment. Senal Dilaka goes to ground. Now they need a scrum half. Good counter-ruck that time by CRNFC, but referee deems that it was in from the side and quickly taken. Vimukti Rahula didn't take it from the correct mark, or he did. So referee says 10 meters. And that's a shame because CRNFC had all the play in that half and a silly mistake costing them maybe about 40 or 50 meters.
Yes, and it's not their first opportunity as well. And Sia just have got to be very clinical because whenever they get into the Havelocks 22, they've got to make it count. If not, as this game progresses, you'll probably find Havelock Sports Club starting to dominate proceedings, and that's probably the first penalty that has been conceded. And we just saw, Shanaka, that first scrum when Sia had the ball, the Havelocks just put so much pressure. And that's just going to be what this game is going to be like for the rest of this period. So CRNFC, whatever position they do get, they got to make it count.
Well, they'll try to get possession here, but it's one of the strengths of Havelock's game. Fajuddin has two excellent jumpers to hit, Madhushan and Fernando. Sharo takes it at the back. And they don't engage this time. And it's well done by Sia not to engage. Havelocks do pass the ball back, which means that they have a man in front of the ball. And referee Gunaratne forced to blow that. It's a technical penalty, but CRNFC have decided that they're not going to contest that rolling maul. And that is one way of playing it.
Yes, that's one way of playing it. So now it'll be interesting to see how Havelocks respond to this tactic of CRNFC. They do realize that it's an area which is going to be very hard for them to stop, so they have decided to use a rather passive method on how to counter it. So it's a good tactic. Now Havelocks will have to respond, and it'll be interesting to see how they adjust to this situation.
Just to explain to our viewers, if they're a little bit confused, if Sharo Fernando, who was a jumper, had kept that ball in his hand, then that would have been perfectly okay. But he transferred it back to, I think it was Senal Dilaka who bound behind him. And as soon as he does that, Sharo's in front of the ball, and that's an offside. So that's what the penalty was for. And this is where they'll really miss Sarinder Ratwatta. Reza Rafaidin is a good kicker, but I'm not sure he's been the form kicker this season. And that's why Ratwatta was obviously doing the duties, but they will miss those 3-point opportunities, and that certainly was one. So Sia will get an opportunity to get the ball back, and here's the experience of Mubarak, just slowing everything down, ambling to the line, making sure that his forwards get to draw a little bit of breath. Ball falls to the dangerous Omarka Gunaratne from broken field, smashes into Niroshan Fernando, still going. Fernando comes back and gets him. Rahul De Silva, Sivaraj, they fly up on him. Prince Charmer, it was making a tackle outside of the defensive line, and he needed to make it quickly. Liston Flatney now ripping the ball away from Joel Pereira. Great work from Havelock's tight 5.
Number 4.
Here's Prince Charmer. Steps but steps slowly. So
number 4, high tackle. Number 4, red number 4.
And penalty for number 12, a high tackle, says the referee. So that was Rehan Silva who's been pinged. And once again, Havelocks will have the first opportunity to get into the opposite half.
It's been a really good start by CRNFC thus far, Shanaka, but unfortunately they've just not made it count, isn't it? They got into the the Havelocks 22 on a couple of occasions, but they just haven't made it count, and that's where they've just got to be a bit more clinical. Rafaidin just fluffing a penalty, although it was from quite a long distance, but whatever opportunity they do get, they've got to get points on the board.
Well, one thing that penalty attempt did tell me, Abdullah, is that you've got your second choice kicker, but you're still going for a fairly difficult long range penalty, which shows that you're not having a lot of confidence in your line out, which is not a good sign for me from the CR point of view. Senal Dilaka takes that beautifully, and CR forced to engage that time.
Get back, number 5, back, number 5, get
and
back.
That's a nice long driving maul from Havelocks. Technically perfect stuff. This is the stuff coaches dream of. Chanaka Bandara carries that in the back. Joel Pereira trying to clamber his way through the middle.
Number 7, red number 7.
And Mimuktu Rahula, they defended that fairly well under the circumstances. Now a little bit of space for Mubarak, who puts Sadun Herat into space. Herat skipping, dragged down in the tackle, and the ball lost forward, and Sia lived to breathe again. But really good work from Havelock's backs, and that's the first opportunity that they've got, and they almost made it count.
That's right, and also Sia on this occasion decided to put some resistance to that Havelock's drive, and not very successfully, Sanaka. So it clearly shows the superiority at set piece time between both teams, and that could very well prove to be the difference if the CR8 don't pick themselves up.
Thought that was an unfortunate penalty though. Thought Sia defended that fairly well. Joel Pereira called for coming in at the side, but I thought he was the one man that had the rights to come in straight through the middle, which is where he was, but be interesting watching again. So the first opportunity for Havelocks inside the 22, and there's no prizes for guessing what their first option is going to be here. Umesh Madhushan waits in the front, but it's taken in the middle by Dilaka, but the throw is not straight. Fajuddin pretends he can't believe it, but when he watches that one again, he'll probably see what the referee saw.
Yes, but Sia very much not out of the woods yet, because they have to contend with this scrum, which they have just about 8 meters or so away from their try line. There's no doubt that the Havelock's front row will insert as much pressure as they possibly can.
So that ball was caught on the outside shoulder of the jumping player, which is why the referee finds it easy to call it a crooked throw. If it's straight over the head on the inside shoulder, referees will generally let it go if it's uncontested. Omarka Gunaratne choosing to break, and why not? Because he needs a little bit of a platform for the clearance for Sivaraj. Sivaraj opting to run this time. Chamod Fernando trying to bundle his former schoolmate into touch is Niroshan Fernando. And the left foot box kick is taken nicely by Rahul De Silva. Bounces it on a pin just inside the And Riza Mubarak once again showing his experience, throwing it to himself. It'll be interesting to see if Mubarak had a foot in touch or whether his feet were inside the field of play when he threw that ball in.
Wait. Get back.
So looking at a high tackle.
Sunday. Madda, time off. Madda. Late charge jati na? Oh, late charge jati na. Ek baat na dekhe anda dekhe na. Late charge karan. Late charge jati bol.
Referees conferring as to whether there was a late charge.
No late charge. Penalty here. Yeah, now they are ball. Penalty here. Late charge, yeah.
So it was a late charge. Here's Mubarak. I think he's spot on there. Manages to throw it into himself. And I think he milked that one for all it was worth. Once again, the experience.
That's right. I'm sure a few of those Premier League footballers would have been proud of that dive.
Riza going back to his roots. He began life as a footballer, so. But again, indiscipline from CRNFC. Just like they did last week when Wajid Fahmy copped his yellow card in a retrospective 2-match ban.
And the other thing, Shanaka, is if you just go back to that play, it was a wonderful kick by Rahul, but unfortunately no one was charging that kick. It's just those little errors by CRNFC in terms of discipline that could let them down.
Fajuddin will want to make good the throw this time, and he does. That's a good line-out catch by Senal Dilaka. And that's a nice march on by Havies. CR desperately trying to stop this, but Havelock's zigging and zagging. Really good control at the front and the back.
Get back, hey!
Chanaka Bandara has this ball at the back. He breaks off. Here's Dushmanta Priyadarshan. Difficult to stop from 6 meters out, 7 meters out. Fajuddin. It's up to jumper stuff from Havelocks, but Vimukti Rahul chooses to move it. Niroshan Fernando. It's just overcooked. Just a little bit overcooked from Niroshan Fernando, but Kevin Dixon had sensed the danger, but even though he sensed it, he was absolutely no chance to stop that one if the ball had gone to hand.
Yeah, that's right. Niroshan Fernando was very much just playing the penalty on that occasion, had nothing to lose. So just decided to kick it across.
General warning, captain. General warning.
So referee Priyanta Gunaratna has given a general warning to the CRNFC team. Himanta Hirushan was the one who was the offending player on that occasion, and now the whole team is put on notice. Lots of talking among the forwards there. It's an important scrum for Havies to try and get their first score. Lasindu Ishan is dangerous from this position.
Get back, okay.
Ball came off Rahul De Silva's hand, but Chamara Dabare makes the gain line. Good work from the left winger. Liston Flatney rolls off one tackle. This ball knocked forward. That was Rahul's knock forward from the initial scrum, so the referee is bringing it back. This is Liston Flatney. This is where the advantage ended, but the knock-on actually came at the scrum.
Massive amount of pressure on this CR8. Interesting to see how they will cope. Very untidy at scrum time, but
Vimukti Rahula needs to be careful here. Not try and get involved in the verbal battles with the big boys. Scrum halves generally do well to stay out of forwards fights.
yes, but it just didn't seem to be verbal. Try to get a bit physical as well. Not a very good idea. Shamal Veerasekara, a big lad.
Risk analysis is not part of Vimukti Rahula's skills, obviously. Lasandha Vishan, he really does well at the back of these scrums. And lifting.
Number 3.
Yes, you could see the reaction of the CR front row as well as the support from the rest of the players as well. They do realize that it's an area of the game where they're going to be under a lot of pressure.
So lifting was the call from referee Gunaratna, and Liston Flatney was the guy who was pinged for it. Here's a nice break by Sandun Herat. Was that penalty a blessing in disguise? The clearance kick was awful from Sia. And that ball drops forward. Referee says no, it went back. Chanaka Bandara.
Finish.
Joel Pereira tries to hold him up. Quarter of the game gone and still no points on the board. It's been intense so far though. Good competition. Gayan Udara does well.
Hands up.
Rips the ball away. And now CRNFC have a turnover.
Get back.
Straight through the middle goes Shamal Veerasekara. And now a chance for Panduka Angamara to make some ground.
High tackle.
And caught by the neck, says the referee, Niroshan Fernando.
Come here.
Had him on the floor, and referee will send Sharo Fernando to the bin for that little bit of indiscipline. That's a serious loss for Havelocks. And again, indiscipline, letting Havelocks down. That time Sivaraj does well and puts the ball into touch, but that's a big loss.
Yes, and CR have just got to make that count. Just coming back to Sharo Fernando Shanaka, we've seen him getting yellow cards for so many offences over his rugby career, but this is an absolute new one. Just flinging that ball into the stands.
Camp.
And referee Priyantha Gunaratne is not going to have any of it. So it's a great opportunity for CRNFC to make this count. They've had a lot of chances in this game, but haven't managed to put any points on the board.
When we look back at Sharo Fernando's career, Abdullah will really have to highlight how many different ways he's been shown the yellow card. It's a shame because he's such a good player. Just can't control that rush of blood to the head. And now let's see what CRNFC can do without their strong man, their enforcer as it were, in that pack. Shamal, beautifully done by Umesh Madhusan. Read it all the way, and the lift was good too, the defensive lift. Chamara Dabare goes into the tight spaces, likes a bit of physical contact, does Dabare.
Play on.
Nicely done by Gayan Udara, that's his second turnover, and the big prop forward throws the ball wide. Steven Sivaraj, and here's Joel Pereira. Good offload by Sivaraj there, and now Rahul De Silva has to get quick ball out. Gayan Udara sparking the CR8 into life. And over they go, and the first try is scored for CRNFC. Himantha Hirushan with Rahul De Silva. It's an absolute melee there. But it looks like Gayan Udara is the man who scored, started it off and finished it as well. And what a return to the side for a guy who missed the entire first round of the season due to fitness issues.
Yeah, that's right, and he's definitely having an impact, Shanaka. He was involved at least on 3 occasions in that play after Sia once again lost the line out. And they will be absolutely delighted to get the first points on the board. Just give them that confidence. It'll settle whatever nerves they do have. And it'll be interesting to see how Havelocks respond to this.
Havelocks will rest easy though. They know that CRNFC scored first last week as well. Still lost that game by a big margin. This should be an easy one for Riza Rafaidin though. knocks it over, and it's 7 points to nil. It took a long time coming, the first points in that game. This is the Dialogue Rugby League. You're watching on ThePapare.com. And this is a derby game between Havelocks and Ciaran FC, played for the Matthews Trophy. And it's awarded on aggregate. Havelock still way ahead on the aggregate here. Here's Gahanudara. That's the pass that I thought might have scuppered the move, but Steven Sivaraj did really well to get that away to Joel Pereira. And here's Udara scrambling for the ball here. Like it might be Rahul De Silva actually who scored. Or Malka Gunaratna who scored that try. Gahanudara had the one before the last shot at the line. Lovely hanging kick by Mubarak. Nobody wants a piece of it. So Rahul De Silva collects it on the one bump. Dixon trying to step out of two tackles, does so. Chanaka Bandara eventually gets him. And here's Rahul now with the high box kick. Might have gone into touch on the full. Yes, it has. And they're forced to come back. But he had the right idea, Rahul De Silva. Just couldn't control that ball in a ground that he's played plenty of rugby on before as well.
Yeah, that's right. See, I would be a bit disappointed with that. I'm sure they would have wanted to get back into Havelock's half as soon as possible. But unfortunately, that kick from the base just going out. Again, a good half break by Kevin Dixon. Rahul was well positioned, but unfortunately just a bit wide.
Well, the space was just a little bit further up, wasn't it, Abdullah? Riza was positioned well at the back, but they needed that just maybe a small box kick over the top of that first defensive line for Gamunu Chetia to run onto, rather than that long one that he did try. So that's perhaps an option that Rahul will be thinking about later. And again, a crooked throw. So Azmir Fajuddin was excellent last week against Navy. Just a one crooked throw, but this time already he's had about three.
Yeah, really surprising because it's the conditions are very still. There's hardly any wind in the ground. But unfortunately, again, just deciding to go long. Not sure whether he needs to use that number 6 option at that kind of stage, because Sia don't seem to be interested in contesting the line out.
Well, they did contest that one, and that might have forced Fajuddin into that cricket throw, because Shehan Dias is a man that knows his Havelock's line out well enough. So that might be putting a little bit of pressure, the presence of Dias there.
Hands up. Killing the ball.
Yeah, wonderful work by Lasindu Ishan. Stayed on his feet.
Number 3.
Managed to get his hands on the ball, and good technique and strength shown by Lasindu, just enabling Havelocks to get another penalty. And Niroshan Fernando has got a wonderful touch finder, or has he overcooked it?
Well, looks like that ball might have gone into touch in goal. Lasindu Ishan did really well to stay on his feet in the face of the oncoming CR forwards. And it was a penalty for holding on. But because that ball went into touch in goal, so this is a big scrum for Havelocks. They'll want to try and get the ball back here. CR will need a quick heel. And Omalka Gunaratna is almost certainly going to come off the back of this one. Sivaraj. So, dangerous ball, Niroshan Fernando. That's a high tackle as well. Might even be a penalty try. Yes, exactly what it is. The referee has to make a decision. Would the try have been scored if not for the offence? And chances are that there were no other defenders to stop Niroshan Fernando. So Steven Sivaraj's high tackle will cost his team 7 points. Again, a terrible mistake from the 8 and 9 combination there. I fully expected Omalka Gunaratna to break in that position, but he opted to scoop the ball back. And this is Sivaraj's inexperience, I guess. Gamunu Chetia didn't want anything to do with that ball. And that he's lucky that it wasn't a yellow card.
Yes, I think he's very
Number
lucky,
15.
but looks like referee Prinda
Number
Gunaratna
15.
is going to
number
have a
15.
word.
He's calling
tackle.
the red number 15 over. And Kevin Dixon say it wasn't me, in true Shaggy style. But that is a costly miss from that scrum. I said it was an important scrum, Abdullah, and it turned out to be exactly that.
Yeah, that's right, and there wasn't much pressure on the scrum on that occasion as well. Maybe Omar could have done well to just break off and set up another phase, but deciding to go for rather high risk tap back to his scrum half.
Dushmantha Priyajasana catches the ball on the rebound. Joel Pereira tries to bring down the experienced front rower, but he pumps his legs, keeps going. And Javi's now maybe content just to play out a bit of time until Sharo Fernando comes back. So really a double blow for Sia that they conceded those 7 points with a man in the bin. Long ball over the top for Herat. Rafaidi needs to be good here and is. Vimukti Rahula now looking for Lasindu Ishan. Supun Vandakulu Surya gets him on the ricochet. Havelocks with some continuity for the first time in this game. Liston flattening. Niroshan looks for Dinu Kamarasinghe and that trademark offload, but Rehan Silva wraps him up that time, and CRNFC managed to get the ball, but they knock it on.
Finish.
So again, a little error at the breakdown, a messy breakdown I have to say, costing Sia the ball.
Yes, but a wonderful counter ruck as well. And I think he would probably consider himself a little unlucky about CRNFC, because I think Dinu Kamarasinghe was also not clearly releasing the ball. So
he continued to play at it, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He was on the ground. He needed to release it. So lucky reprieve for Havelocks, but I'm really liking the commitment shown by CRNFC. They're putting players into the breakdown. More players are committing themselves, unlike in the previous encounters, and they're causing a lot of problems for Havelocks at breakdown time.
So Havelocks 8 restored to exactly that 8, with Sharo Fernando returning to the field. Quick ball for Niroshan Fernando, and here's Chamara Dabare, gives it to Mubarak. Mubarak with a nice flat ball to Sandun Herat, another seatbelt tackle, but referee may have said that one was okay. Sharo Fernando welcomed back from the sin bin by Omaka Gunaratna.
Offside.
Offside, says the referee. Here's Vimukti Rahula, who takes it quickly. Umesh Madhushan now playing in the flankers role today. Chamara Dabare.
Play advantage. Not 10 yards. Not 10 yards. Get back. 10 yards back.
Dabare getting involved there. Needs to be a little careful not to do something silly. Not 10 meters, says the ref. So Havelocks will have an opportunity now to get into the lead for the first time in this game. And with just about 6 minutes to go, Abdullah, this would be an ideal time to put that penalty over. But instead, they're going to the line out. That shows their confidence.
Yes, it most certainly does. But it's also an interesting option by Vimukti Rahula. He decided to take the quick tap. So maybe they're considering to try and up the pace of the game a bit, maybe wear down the CRNFC forwards, make them run a bit pillar to post before getting into any set piece stuff as such. But another wonderful attacking opportunity for Havelocks. Sia's work is going to be cut out to try and put any resistance to this maul.
As you say, it could be quite deliberate, because Havelocks have been a second half team this season. So they'll be backing themselves to come back strongly in that second half. So just want to wear down the legs of this CRNFC defense.
Get back! Coming from side.
Andu Kangamana And Shehan Dias going in there, but the referee pinging them for coming in from the side. Really not sure how you can tell what the side is when the mall is so fragmented. But Umesh Madhushan still going. Supun Wannakula Surya holding up his former teammate Fajuddin. Havelock's piling in the bodies here. Chanaka Bandara goes on his own. Rahula to Dushmanta Priyadarshana. They were alive to the inside ball, the CR defense. And penalty coming from the referee.
Small ball, you are coming from out. Small ball, you are coming from side. Number 7.
Small ball coming in from the side is the referee's call, and Shehan Dias shakes his head but has to shake a leg as well as he goes to the bin. It's a tough call. I won't say it's a harsh call, but it's a tough call because that maul was disintegrating pretty quickly.
Yes, I think CR will consider themselves a bit unlucky. They've so far put in some good resistance at the maul time, but as you said, Shanaka, the way the maul disintegrates, it's very hard to judge whether it's coming from the side or not.
So that's number 5 at the top left of your screen, Shehan Dias. You watch him, where he comes in from. So he's still standing out, The maul is being repelled. And yeah, well, you've got to say the referee got it spot on there. Here's the rest of that maul until the penalty was awarded.
Play on. Turn our ball.
So wonderful work by Rahul De Silva there. Shanaka just getting himself involved there and turning that ball over. Now it's important that CR recycle position cleanly and just clear their lines.
Roshan Fernando insisting that somebody drops back, and Rahul De Silva opts to clear from the base himself and will buy his team about 35 meters. And that was a lucky escape for the CR lads. And Havelocks will be kicking themselves that they couldn't convert. They went twice to the line out when they had kickable penalties. And if this game turns on maybe 2 or 3 points, then they will be ruining those missed chances. But they will be hoping that that won't happen.
Yes, so we are very much in the first half. And when whatever points you've got at your disposal, you've just got to take them, isn't it? And you've got a place kicker like Riza, who is very good and very accurate. You've just got to pile on the points whenever you have a chance.
Nice ball from Dilak over the top. Roshan Fernando, and this is a nice ball to Mubarak. Mubarak has one man to beat. Props the ball to Chamara Dabare. Can he finish? Yes, he can. Chamara Dabare, what a finish. He had plenty to do when he got the ball. But good timing of the pass from Mubarak and the physical power of Chamara Dabare to get over that line. And you can see that everyone was setting themselves up for a rolling maul again. But instead, Havelocks ran it with the first phase. Outstanding stuff here. Sandun Herath injecting the pace. Riza Mubarak adding the extra man. Standing Kevin Dixon up just for long enough. And Gamanu Chetia's tackle should probably have been a little better.
Yeah, that's right. And it all started from Sandun Herath coming from the right flank, linking up and just creating that uncertainty in CR's defense. I don't think CR drifted as well as they should have. And that just created enough space for Dabare to get the momentum. And using his power, I don't think Kevin Dixon was any match for him on that occasion. So CRNFC will be very frustrated with how eventually this half has turned out, because I thought possession as well as territory-wise they did dominate, but it shows against good teams whenever you do have an opportunity to put points on the board, you have got to make it count.
Yes, it was a beautifully taken try and an equally well taken conversion as well from Mubarak that compounds the pressure. And it's 14 points to 7 as we go into the half-time break. And what a time to score, Abdullah. Just before the half, you're really depressing the opposition team who go into their half-time huddle. And CR's defense just didn't react well enough. And we'll look at the highlights of that half.
Yeah, that's right. Sia will be very disappointed because if they had gone to half-time 7-all, I'm sure they would have been very, very pleased. And it should have been the case, given the amount of possession as well as territory which they had in this game. But Havelock's just showing their experience and class, and at just at crucial moments able to turn it on. As we have a look at the replays, this was Sia's first try. Some wonderful work at line-out time, managing to turn possession over. Guy and Dilshan in the thick of things. A good pick and drive, drawing the defense close by, and then Omalka Gunaratna on hand to just go over, and from that kind of distance there's no stopping him. So CRNFC got onto the board at the start. Conversion was comfortably slotted over by Rafaidin, and then Havelock's slowly inching themselves back into this game. Wonderful cutout pass, and I believe this is the second try. A wonderful finish by Chamara Dabare, did extremely well to stay in play, and Rafaidin just Riza Mubarak rather slotting that over from the touchline to extend Havelock's lead to 14 points to 7 at half time. And CRNFC still not out of it. I thought they did extremely well in the first 20 minutes of that half, but it just shows against good teams you've got to play a complete 40 minutes if you want to stay in the game.
We're under lights at Havelock Park. You're live and exclusive on ThePapare.com with the Dialogue Rugby League action. 14-7 to the home team as we go into the half-time break. We'll be back after the break.
I see how much that you suffer. I know you keep it undercover. Feels like it can't get no rougher. Oh, those tears you cry ain't for nothing.
Crescent Mini Keeves. Try it. Love it. The original Mini Keeves, only from Crescent.
අපේ ගෙදර හැමෝටම ඉන්ටනෙට් ඕනේ. මොබිටෙල් වයිෆයි රවුටරේ නිසා ගෙදරේදී කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ. අපි වෙන වෙනම ඉන්ටනෙට් ගියත් පැකේජ් එක එකයි. ඒත් ගෙදරින් එළියට ගියාම හැමෝටම පැකේජ් එක අරන් යන්න පුළුවන්ද? Hey Barry, මොබිටෙල් වයිෆයි ප්ලස් පැකේජ් එක තියෙන්නේ. ලංකාවේ කොහේ ගියත් රවුටරේ ගෙදර තියෙද්දි ගෙදර හැමෝටම එකම පැකේජ් එකෙන් වෙන වෙනම ඉන්ටනෙට් යන්න පුළුවන් එකම ක්‍රමය. මොබිටෙල් වයිෆයි ප්ලස් විතරයි. ඒ විතරක් නෙමේ. එක බිලයි, කනෙක්ෂන්ස් ගොඩයි.
Sophisticated selection of Yardley, London.
Fast Pulsar NS160 with wider tyres and twin disc brakes from David Pieris Motor Company Private Limited.
sophisticated selection of Yardley London.
Crunchy munchy.
Fiery Kochi.
Crescent Kochi Bites. Try it. Love it. The original Kochi Bites only from Crescent.
Sophisticated selection of Yardley London.
අපේ ගෙදර හැමෝටම ඉන්ටනෙට් ඕනේ. මොබිටෙල් වයිෆයි රවුටරේ නිසා ගෙදරදි කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ. අපි වෙන වෙනම ඉන්ටනෙට් ගියත් පැකේජ් එක එකයි. ඒත් ගෙදරින් එළියට ගියාම හැමෝටම පැකේජ් එක අරන් යන්න පුළුවන්ද? Hey Barry, මොබිටෙල් වයිෆයි ප්ලස් පැකේජ් එක තියෙන්නේ. ලංකාවේ කොහේ ගියත් රවුටරේ ගෙදර තියෙති. ගෙදර හැමෝටම එකම පැකේජ් එකෙන් වෙන වෙනම ඉන්ටනෙට් යන්න පුළුවන් එකම ක්‍රමය. මොබිටෙල් වයිෆයි ප්ලස් විතරයි. ඒ විතරක් නෙමේ. එක බිලයි, කනෙක්ෂන්ස් ගොඩයි. අපේ ගෙදර හැමෝටම ඉන්ටනෙට් ඕනේ. මොබිටෙල් වයිෆයි රවුටරේ නිසා ගෙදරදි කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ. අපි වෙන වෙනම ඉන්ටනෙට් ගියත් පැකේජ් එක එකයි. ඒත් ගෙදරින් එළියට ගියාම හැමෝටම පැකේජ් එක අරන් යන්න පුළුවන්ද? Hey Barry, මොබිටෙල්
Joel Pereira held up nicely by Sharo Fernando round his neck, but that seems okay at close quarters. And the first action of the second half here on this Mathis Trophy game between CRNFC and Havelocks. Going to the Havies, the home team, getting the score they desperately wanted just before the stroke of half-time. Here's the kickoff. Udara running forward while he had Joel Pereira in the air. Special skills there. That scrum has gone all over the place. And referees coming back for a reset. That's interesting.
Yes, Siakan considers themselves very lucky because by all accounts it definitely looked as if CR's scrum was disintegrating. We've got to keep in mind that CR are down to 7 players in the scrum as well. Cheyenne Dias will have to spend a few more minutes on the chair outside.
Watch for the hip movements on the near side. Havelock's marching straight through and still not getting a penalty, so they'll be very disappointed with that. Havies, they completely had the better of CR's scrum there. And Liston Flatney thinks, what more do I have to do? So referee having a fairly long chat to both front rows. Not sure whether they've made themselves clear to each other. We'll find out in a matter of moments. Himantha Hirushan, the inexperienced man, against the experienced Liston Flatney on this near side. And that's a much better scrum. And again, lifting up, says the referee. He's pinged Dushmantha Priyadarshana this time. Liston Flatney guilty of the same thing in the first half.
Going up.
Sivaraj. That's a nice kick into the stands, and he takes his team into the opposite half for the first time in the second essay of this game. This man we haven't really seen much of in this game yet, Abdullah, but will the second half be his?
It's a wonderful talent, Dinu Kamarasinghe, from Anthonian. Was a real revelation during the Tuskers Sevens campaign this year. He's has had an impact on this Havelock's three-quarter line with some wonderful outloads during the previous game.
Sivaraj to Rehan Silva. Rehan Silva being helped through the gap by Omaka Gunaratne. No quick ball for Sia, but Joel Pereira tries to make inroads, gets it up to the gain line, but again just two men with him. Gunaratne, Panduka Angammana with him. Lucky to escape falling over the ball there. Himantha Hirushan now helping out his ball runner. Kayan Udara now, who had a bit of involvement with Sia's only try of the game. Sivaraj does well to rescue that ball, now stepping out of a couple of tackles. Dushmantha Priyadarshana does really well to hold on to him. And here's Himantha Hirushan now. Scored so many tries in Royal colours, he'll be desperate for a few in the red as well, but Sivaraj drops that ball cold. And now Prince Chamara intercepts the ball that was going towards Chamara Dabare, and the referee will bring them back for the knock-on.
A bit unfortunate for CRNFC. They had an opportunity. Initial break by Rehan Silva. There were some good quick phases. But I think CRNFC will be better off to try and look to go wide earlier on rather than going for the hits at close quarters, because it's an area where Havelocks are much more comfortable at. And they do have that physical advantage as well. And CRNFC, once we've seen during this season, whenever they've got some good quick front foot ball, they can pose a threat to any defense.
Certainly can. There's still one man short. So maybe that's why they're trying to slow the game down a little bit. That's a good march on from Havelocks, and Shamal Veerasekara breaking off. Riza Mubarak, the lovely thump straight down, taking his team into the opposition half from his own 22.
Three quarters.
So it will be Sia's ball here,
Number 10.
as it was not a penalty, and these are the two men who will try and win that ball. Joel Pereira and Shamal Veerasekara, they're having a bit of a conference, which shows that they're not entirely confident at line-out time, Abdullah.
Yes, it's an area of the game where Sia definitely has struggled throughout the season. It's not been any different in this game as well. They just haven't been accurate enough in this area.
Supunwanakula Surya goes right over everyone, and Lashindu Vishan dragged to the floor by his opposite number. Mubarak to Prince Chamara. Well stolen that time by Rafaidin, was it? On the far wing, might be Chamod Fernando, and Rahul De Silva runs back and puts the deep kick in. Mubarak has it well covered though, safe as houses. And that's a lovely spot of space, but the ball doesn't do him any favors by jagging backwards on the bounce. Dixon now. Brilliantly taken by Vimukti Rahul at that time. Fajuddin. Stabbed through that time, and Udaragan is the only man available. Beaten easily to the ball by Dinu Kamarasinghe, and that's a try for Havelocks. They've been cheap tries that CRNFC have conceded, and Havelocks have pounced on them like hyenas.
Yes, you've got to question who was sweeping on that occasion. You don't want your prop forward on that in those kind of situations. And Dinu may not be the fastest man, but he definitely had the legs on Gayan on that occasion. Wonderful vision by Lashindu Vishan to identify the space as well as identify the person who was sweeping. And as you can see, Gayan was absolutely no match for Dinu Kamarasinghe. But I think you've got to give a lot of credit to Lashindu Vishan for identifying the space at the back there as well.
He's a wonderful player, Abdullah. Lashindu Vishan, he's got so much vision, such good score skills, and was also a very unselfish player. And for a number 8 to spot that, to spot the man who was the back marker, and to put that little stab kick grubber in, that's really good skills. And Dinu Kamarasinghe did well. He would have known that if there was any man on the park he could beat with his eyes closed, it was probably Udaragan. You've got to feel for the young lad, because he was tracking back, he was doing what he can, but never stood a chance.
Yes, that was the second occasion where he was left at the back, so you really have to question the CR's defensive structure, especially from the kick. And I'm sure when Amarasinghe saw the number 3 jersey on the back of the CR player, his eyes would have just lit up, as Rafaidin's kick just goes astray.
Mubarak's kick rather.
Sorry, Mubarak's kick.
And CRNFC now find themselves 21-7 down from a line-out that they should really have won. So once again, the line-out proving their problem. And as you mentioned earlier, Abdullah, the amount of changes in the team. Gamunu Chetia now playing only his second game at outside centre in this team. Was guilty of maybe not being in the right position to stop Sandun Herat for the first try. That time again, little bit of positional errors, not sure who's sweeping, whose role is what. Vimukti Rahul will take his time now. Havelocks have a whole half an hour to come up with the bonus point try, so they will be in no hurry. And Sivaraj makes a costly error once again.
That's right, and we're talking about the team combinations and developing that understanding. During that play, Shanaka, Gayan was left at the back on 2 consecutive occasions from the kick ahead. So it just shows that if you don't have your combinations in place regularly, it's very hard to get anything right, as Sivaraj does extremely well there on that occasion. Amarasinghe just isolating himself, and Sivaraj just getting himself into a very good position and forcing that turnover.
He's made up for his initial error, so he'll want to get his team into a good position now. Sivaraj must be making his dad extremely proud, seeing his son starting for CR in this all-important derby match. Dinuk showing the ball, but Prince Chamara falling over one of the prone CR players and not being able to attend that breakdown duties.
Yes, what a wonderful story that is, isn't it, Shanaka? Siva, as he's fondly known, has taken care of a lot of CR players over the many years, and now to see his son donning the red jersey must be a very proud father.
And to add to Sia's woes, Mithun Hapugoda has come onto the park and gets his first touch as well.
Play advantage.
Joel Pereira, one of the few Sia forwards who has really made a name for himself this season.
Advantage over.
Daragayan again has taken a pounding in this game at scrum time as well as in the loose, but he's done well. Chanaka Chandimal looks like he's on the park as well. Sia making the gain line that time. Omarka Gunaratna with a nice ball out to Gamunu Chetia. Gamunu Chetia stepping straight through and finding Rehan Silva with a nice offload. Silva needs to go down now, and he gets his knee on the floor, which is good news for him. But aggressive counter-rucking from Havelocks as well. They've done that so well this season. Nice inside ball to Joel Pereira. Joel Pereira twisting and turning, nobody with him. Finally they get there. Chandimal. Rafaidin. Chetia. Long ball out to Shamal Veerasekar, who steps back in field. Sandun Herath drags him down and the ball is available. Rahul De Silva gets there eventually. Chandimal. To Angammana. Good carry from Angammana. We haven't seen enough of those from him. Gamunu Chetia gets smashed by the cover defense of Umesh Madhushan. Stepping off his right foot was Chanaka Chandimal. But referee will say that there might be a card here. Umesh Madhushan called for that tackle that I mentioned a little earlier on Shamal Veerasekara, and that referee has deemed it high, but again, a harsh call there, Abdullah.
Yeah, that's right. I think he was desperate because he was coming at such a pace, and I think it was Gamunu Chetia. Chetia is much shorter than him as well, and probably just made a bit of contact. As we have a look at that once again, he did make a big contact with probably the upper shoulder at best, but nonetheless, Havelocks have been penalized and they will have to manage with 14 players for the next 10 minutes. Another opportunity for Sia to make it count. They didn't the last time.
Well, you can't really find any fault with the referees, Abdullah, because the tackle line has now been moved down to below the nipples. And that's where you have to hit the players. So anything above that, the new trial variation of the law is going to be a high tackle. So referees are being very strict on it, and why not? Because the game has been really stricken with injuries recently. 4 players meeting their end in France in lower divisions of rugby. So we really have to be careful and manage player safety. So referees doing exactly that. Sharo Fernando doing brilliantly at that defensive line out.
Again, the line out letting Sia down at a crucial time, Shanaka. It's just been the story of their season.
Supurnwanakula Surya not getting enough height on that ball. He's very tentative when he throws, and you can see that with the wobble of the ball as it goes into the line out, Abdullah. So he's got to get a little bit more confidence in his throwing, Supun, especially from close range.
Yes, Charana Chamikara has made his place onto the field, and Gayan Jayasekara has left the field, but Gayan, I think, has had a huge impact on this performance today. I think special mention needs to be given. In the loose, he's been absolutely outstanding. He's been in the thick of everything good that Sia has done in this game.
He's also lasted 50 minutes, so that'll be a feather in his cap. I'm really not sure why Omarka Gunaratna binds down in the #1 channel in defense. Exactly because of that, because he has so much room to make when he comes down around to defend. This ball is flying about everywhere. This is a comedy of errors now. Mithun Hapugoda to ThePapare, already scored a try in this game, looking for another one. Here's Hapugoda injecting that pace into the game. Sharo Fernando drops his head. Angammana with an excellent tackle. Liston Flatney. Here's Sadun Herath. Herath looking to step inside Chaitya. Hit in a good tackle by Veerasekara. Senal Dilaka access scrum half, and now Havelocks have their tails up. Well ripped away by Omalka Gunaratna, but it's fallen to the dangerous Mithun Hapagoda, who'll kick and chase. Kevin Dixon marks that ball and does well with his fullback duties. So we might go back to that initial knock on.
Red number 11 high tackle.
And it's a high tackle call.
Red number 11.
Red number 11.
Red number 11.
Reza Rafaidin.
No high tackles.
Came through and made a big tackle.
No high tackles.
Just a penalty, says the referee. So Rafaidin lucky that time to stay on the field. That really was shambolic defense from CRNFC. Here's the tackle. That's Rehan Silva and Reza Rafaidin combining there. It could have been any one of them that saw the penalty.
Yes, and there were some lazy runners from CR's point of view as well, which could have been penalized, but referee very correctly penalizing for that high shot. So CRNFC just not making use of their opportunities in this game. They've had a wonderful line-out opportunity with Havelocks down to 14 players, but just could not capitalize. And now they find themselves back just outside their own 22.
Number 2, red number 2.
So it's talking about that binding, Abdullah, at the back of that scrum. And if Omalka Gunaratna is one player over and he's in his normal channel as a number 8, he has much less ground to make up to make the tackle that Lasidhu Ishan broke. So interesting choices being made. Sven Muller on the pitch as well. So Sia emptying their bench, and Dushmanta Priyadarshana takes it at the front. Senal Dilaka with his hands all over the face area of Shamal Veerasekara there. That'll be an interesting one for the sighting commissioner. Mithun Hapagoda looks for the kick. And overcooked it just a little bit, but he'll be happy to put that ball into the corner because it's their ball. There was a charge down, a partial charge down.
Yes, I think he did take a deflection from a CR player before going into touch. So it'll be a 5-meter line out. And a great opportunity for Havelocks to get their fourth try and get that bonus, all-important bonus point. And in all probability would probably seal the match in their favor as well.
So this is where the game could really go either way. If CR managed to score next, the game might turn around, but if Havelock score their bonus point now, things will really open up for CR. So it's finely poised at the moment. That mini battle went CRNFC's way. And if they can clear their lines, they'll consider themselves very, very lucky to get out of jail at this point.
Most definitely, Shanaka. It was just an opportunity for them to try and seal this game. But a rare fumble. It was not cleanly taken. And then Sharo Fernando just trying to rip the ball away from his own teammate, resulting in a knock-on.
Thought Shahan Dias did well there as well. Went through the middle that time. Scrum is untidy. Referee will call it back for a reset. Everybody's got an opinion. Shaukat Lahir tells the referee what he thought of it as well.
Again.
And the truth of the matter is, Abdullah, nobody really knows what's going on. Certainly not the front row forwards.
Yeah, that's right. And you have to wonder how the referee will know if the forwards themselves. Not sure what exactly is happening, but it's a very difficult area to police, isn't it? But it's also very crucial in terms of the safety aspect of all players.
Absolutely is. Lahir makes a tackle on Gunaratna. Stays strong in it as well. Shaukat Lahir. Chanaga Chandimal smacks this one into touch and buys his team about 25 meters. Not a lot because he was under the posts when he kicked that, so he's a lot of ground to make up to get to the touchline in the first place.
Yes, Havelocks won't mind this at all, Shanaga. They're down to 14 players, and long the time they hang on in their own half and run the clock down, they'll be able to get their full complement of players back. From Sia's point of view, they've just not been able to capitalize on the extra man, which will definitely disappoint them.
So 20 minutes of this game, Sia have been playing 14 men and not been able to capitalize except for that first half try. And again, not really sure what Azmir Fajruddin is complaining about. That was as crooked as they come.
Yes, he's had a rare off day today, as we have a look at that once again. It's also the illusion, isn't it, Shanaga, if the ball receiver moves in and it shows as if it comes to his outside shoulder, the referee is inclined to give it as a crooked throw. So just those little aspects need to be taken into consideration.
New team on the bench for CRNFC. Pavitra Fernando managing. Mohammad Mushtaq has left his management duties for the head coach's job in Anurang Gawalpola, looking a little upset, as he should, given the way his players have played all season. Rahul De Silva opting to put this ball back, and Reza Mubarak with a left-footed clearance does well to turn towards the touchline and thump that one out without risking any heroics. So a good break from De Silva, but just not enough pace to finish it off himself.
That's right. You would have to question whether it would have been better off to try and link up with his outside man as well, but decided to put it onto the boot. Chamod Fernando was out as well, but I guess Chamod Dabare had done well to try and get in between both those players. And Reza just showing his kicking prowess, using his wrong foot to boot that into touch. But nonetheless, I think Sia will be pretty happy with the outcome. They just got to make this count, because I don't think there'll be too much more minutes on the clock before Havelocks return to their full complement of players.
Well, I watched rugby for a long time, Abdullah, and I've never seen this before. I've never seen a player being strapped outside of his jersey, and that's exactly what Lachindu Ishan is getting done to himself. His left shoulder obviously in a bit of strife, so hopefully that's not a long-term injury. Sven Muller. Shehan Dias does well in the line out. Omalka Gunaratna straight through the middle. Gunaratna won't be stopped from here. Under the post he goes. And you can see what that means to the CR team. And Reza Mubarak knows exactly what happened there, and he will be telling his front line of defense what he doesn't want them to do again.
Well, Omalka just showing his absolute brute power, Shanak, and on the front foot at pace. He's very hard to stop. 2 missed tackles, and from that kind of distance, once he gets a bit of momentum, he's very, very hard to stop. And CRNFC back in this game. 14 points, in all probability with the conversion. So it's just a try between both these teams as we approach the last quarter. And this game has come alive once again.
Shaukat Lahir missing the initial tackle on Omalka, and once he got ahead of steam up, there was no chance for either Niroshan Fernando or Reza Mubarak. Sia fans have reason to smile again, although tentatively. Rafaidin kicking his 23rd point of the season there, and they'll be needing a few more from him if they're to make a dent in this game.
That's right. It's also important now for this last 20 minutes for the big experienced players to step up. Omalka has definitely put his hand up. The other players like Rehan Silva, Joel Pera, the vice captain. Even the experienced Chanaka Chandimal will have a part to play in this in the next 17 or so minutes if Sierra to pull this game off.
So Shehan Dias had a hand in that as well, won the line out nicely. That led to that first phase ball and got a good kickoff there just now as well. And Sierra managing to retain that ball now, getting their tails up a little bit. The box kick proving to be costly. Chamara Dabare is not as great going back as he is going forward. Here's Dabare again, needs to put the ball out and does really well. Chamara Dabare, not known for his kicking duties, and does really well to get to the 22 there. Riza Mubarak, again, so much experience. Just handing the ball off at the right time and getting out of jail. That could have been really costly for Havis.
Most definitely, and it would have been so, Shanaka, I feel, if there were more Sia players chasing that kick. It was just Chamot Fernando. You have to ask the question, where was Chanaka Chandimal, where was Rehan Silva? They need to have put more pressure on that from that kick through. It was just Chamot Fernando there, and if there was at least another couple of chasers, Mubarak and the rest of the cover defense would have been in a lot of strife.
Gamanu Chetia ambling up once the horse had bolted. So a young player like him really needs to get into the action here. He's gotten a start. Janitha Dilshan's injury giving him that opportunity. So he really needs to make the most of it. And he's got to chase down kicks. He's got to sweep. He's still one of the fitter players around now, and coming off a little bit of a controversy. He's got to show himself, or he's got to show the Sri Lankan rugby community that he deserves to be playing.
Most definitely. It's just those attention to detail, isn't it? Shanaka, you have to go through those processes during your practice, but it's just so important that you execute it on game day. Another liner opportunity for CRNFC. Shamal Veerasekara collects it cleanly. This time deciding to miss out, and Chamot Fernando with a wonderful step in, looking for the pass, and Rafaidin! Rafaidin goes over! Wonderful play by the CRNFC, 3 quarters. Just showing what they could do with some quality possession. Now that's the second consecutive line out that CR have won cleanly, and the 3 quarters have obliged. And we are now even Stevens. It's 19 points all.
Sven Muller has made a difference coming onto this park. He's found his man, and Shehan Dias, they missed out Amarka Gunaratne that time. Shaukat Lahir flew up onto his man, and Rafaidin had just enough pace to beat Mubarak into the corner there.
Yes, we also have to give a lot of credit to Chamot Fernando. Came out from his right wing, identified the gap, and more importantly, as he managed to get into the 22, he found Rafaidin not managing to skip a couple of players as well. So good vision by Chamot Fernando on all aspects. And Rafaidin, a difficult kick, but a great opportunity to give CRNFC the lead.
Lovely to see Chamot Fernando with the ball in hand and having a few defenders to beat. He hasn't had that opportunity much this season so far. And this for the lead, an unexpected lead for CRNFC if this goes over, but the way he's been kicking, your money may not be safe if you're betting on him. But let's wait and see. And that's way off. So that's something that CRNFC will need to work on in their next training week if they have to replace Sarinder Ratwatta. In the long term, they will really need a kicker to come through and make a difference. But momentum is everything in rugby matches, Abdullah, and has the momentum swung? Here's Amarka Gunaratne attracting 3 defenders there, and Chamot Fernando, the lovely long pass over the top. Riza held his width, held his line as well, and a good support line there from Rafaidin to go over. Here's Gunaratne now. They don't need to do anything silly, CRNFC, but that kick is nowhere near touch. And here's Mithun Hapagore now. This is dangerous for Sia. They managed to bring him down just about on the halfway line. Here's Rahul Delpachitra, who scored some last-minute tries to win games for Havelocks this season. He'll be hoping for another one here today. Dushmanta Priyadarshana. Gayan Jayamana. Again, another silly penalty given away by Jayamana. They are flying in. And that's a punch by Lasantha Vishan. That's got to be a red. There's no place for that. Shamal Veerasekara needs to stay down. And I would be very surprised if Lasantha Vishan doesn't see a red here.
Time off. Red movement. Red.
Kevin Dixon getting involved here as well, and so players who have no part in this really need to get back and let the referee sort this out.
Okay.
Gayan Jayamana was the original instigator. He flew into that ruck, and I don't think he was bound. So the initial penalty was coming for him. But Lasantha Vishan with a punch that I don't think you can excuse on any rugby pitch. You've just been talking him up. And the three referees are going to confer.
Red player. Card right.
Wet line player කකුලෙන් ගහන රිමට.
මේ ලා අන්තිමට ගහේ මේ ප්ලේයර් නේ.
ඔව් මේ පැත්තේ penalty මෙහෙට එන්න ඕනේ. මෙහාට against මෙහෙට එන්න. red player ගහන්න.
Number 6 පොඩයි මෙයා charge කරා. Number 8. Captain.
I've just heard the referees.
රක්කේ charge කරනවා. ඔයාට charge කරන්න බෑ. short charge කරන්න බෑ. ඔයාට players ට ගහන්න බෑ. Right? Both players out. Penalty, last one here.
That's
penalty here.
That's
penalty here.
Sometimes I wish I didn't hear the referee's feed because I can't unhear what just happened. Nobody spoke anything about the punch, and there's nothing about the red. I can't. I just can't. So you watch, Gayan Jayamana has already made the charge here. Lasantha Vishan, that's a shoulder charge by Shamal Veerasekara, and that's a punch from Lasantha Vishan. There is absolutely no place on the rugby field for that. It should have been a red, straight red. And I will be very surprised if the citing commissioner doesn't make that a retrospective red card. And I cannot believe neither of the touch judges saw that. And the touch judge on the near side, Abdullah, did not even say a word in that conversation. And he's the one who should have seen it. This is unacceptable refereeing. I'm sorry, it is unacceptable.
Yes, also considering fact that there's dangerous play involved. Definitely a punch to the head, but going unnoticed as the game goes on. Quick tap by Rahul De Silva. Interesting option, deciding to take a quick tap, but it doesn't seem to have worked out because Sia have been penalized for holding on.
Reza Mubarak now will look to settle things down. And the ball falling infield. Rahul De Silva now will pick that one up, and is that a mistake? Is that a costly mistake? Chanaka Chandimal puts the ball into the deep. Niroshan Fernando does well, really well, Niroshan. Mithun Hapugoda now.
Roll away, roll away!
Mithun Hapugoda calling his players in close, so they really want to play it tight now.
Finish!
Niroshan Fernando. Dinu Kamarasinghe now. We haven't seen that trademark offload. Prince Chamara drifting across his chum with Fernando, but a brilliant run by Chamara Dabare. Outstanding work.
Offside.
Making 40 yards for his team. Shaukat Lahir now. Penalty coming, and Mithun Hapugoda is over the line. This is the man that we predicted might have an impact on this game when he comes on, and Mithun Hapagoda just creates something out of absolutely nothing. And a little bit of magic footwork from this man who's returning after a long layoff. Scored the decisive try last week against Navy and has followed it up with another possible match winner here against CRNFC as well.
That's right, just identifying that gap on the fringe. CR defense was spread out wide and just not being able to cover their bases on either side of the ruck. And Hapagoda just identifying the gap, and once he just breaks through that first line of defense, he's very hard to stop. As we have a look at that once again, some good width put on that ball by Havelocks. DRL, wonderful run, warding out Chamod Fernando. Did extremely well to stay in play. It's a good recycle position, and Kevin Dixon just letting Hapagoda off. And he had no problem putting the finishing touches to that play. And an interesting celebration as well.
Well, he's a confident player with the ball in his hands, and Mubarak adds the extras, no problem at all. And it's a 7-point lead now for Havelocks once again. It's been a seesaw battle in this second half, with the lead changing hands a couple of times, so it's exciting stuff for the spectators.
Red number 6.
Good to see CR responding, but Havelocks were always the favourites in this game. 26 points to 19 with 2 players in the bin. And once again, you've got to ask, where was the first phase defence when Dinu Kamarasinghe ran the ball? Gamanu Chetia once again missing in action. Now he's moved to the wing. No, he hasn't. He's still in that centre position. Umesh Majusan. Rahal Delpachitra. Big thump by Niroshan Fernando, and again Kevin Dixon out of position. Good footballing skills, but it's a net gain for the CR team. The back 3 play, Abdullah, has been pretty average from CR.
Yeah, that's right, especially with regard to the kick. I don't think the wings have supported Kevin enough as well, Shanak, in terms of dropping back and reading the play. I think that's another crucial part of it.
Only penalty. Shoulder charge number 18. Yes. Penalty here.
Havelocks won't mind the position they find themselves in.
It's a shoulder charge by CR's number 18. So the touch just getting involved on that occasion. And that's the one from Charana Chamikara.
Okay. Penalty. Penalty. Penalty.
So again, just giving the game away. CRNFC by unnecessary late penalties.
This just shows that discipline from both teams in crucial stages, isn't it? When the game gets close, that's where you've got to maintain your composure. We saw an incident previously as well, when Shamal Virasekar and Lasindu Ishan got into a bit of a tangle when it was 19-all. Here Chamikara just not holding himself back when trying to charge the ball down, and he's put his team under a lot of pressure. Havelocks line-out hasn't functioned as well as it has during the past. They've struggled today, Fajuddin not having his best day with the throw-ins as well. But this is a crucial line-out if they can get it. It's a great opportunity for them to seal this game.
Well, they'll definitely go for the rolling maul here, but they've got only 2 jumpers. That's Senal Dilaka and Shaukat Lahir. Not your first choice jumpers either. But nicely done by Lahir at the front. Shehan Dias trying to swim over the top again. Dushmanta Priyadarshan is over, and that's the game. That's done and dusted. Dushmanta Priyadarshan asking his fans where the noise is, and why not? Because they've responded really well, Havelocks. And the bonus point is done. And now their sights will be slowly inching towards Candy Sports Club if they can get there without losing another game.
Yes, again, very well executed. That firm base, enabling them to just drive from then on. And once they get a bit of momentum, it's very hard to stop. And there's no stopping Dushmanta Priyadarshana from that kind of distance. Wonderful body position, wonderful technique, and barging over. And with that, Havelocks have, you have to say, Shana has pretty much sealed this game. But nonetheless, it's been a valiant effort by CRNFC. But at the end of the day, the greater superiority of this Havelocks 8 coming to the fore at crucial moments.
We talked about them being a second half side, Abdullah, and they've done this many times before this season where they've looked down and out and come back into games. So it was always going to be a factor, especially with the strength of the bench that they have. And the contribution there for Lahir as well. A good jump at number 2. Riza just pulling that one a little wide. But the jump at number 2 was a strong one, and he caught the ball and he brought it down strongly to position it for his binders as well. So that was a really good bit of play from Lahir. It's just the basic stuff, the little things that they're doing right.
That's right. I think the key word there is the strength he showed while trying to collect the ball. He's not the tallest man there either, so I think Veerasekara has got a couple of inches on him, but it's just that the timing was so perfect. The collection was strong as well. CRNFC have done well to try and turn position over from that kickoff. Bandara to Chandimal, they're spreading it wide. Gamanu Chetia trying to spark something. Going into contact, the ball is recycled extremely well. Taking it forward, they just got to get numbers at the breakdown.
Riza Rafaide not really providing a support option that time on the inside, although his ball runner was looking for it. No tackle release, says the referee, so CRNFC will get the penalty. It will be too little too late for them, but we have to think of a man of the match, Abdullah, as Sia try and get a consolation score. Chanaka Chandimal runs across. Has to change his hands to make the pass, and that's an A-division fly half we're talking about. We have to think of a man of the match, and there have been some interesting performances from Havelocks today. We had Riza Mubarak, who's been very good at the back. Had Chamara Dabare, also who's scored a couple of tries and made some ground, been good in defense as well. Mithun Hapagoda has come on but hasn't played too much of the game. Lasindu Ishan has had a good game, but as well because of that punch, I don't think we can consider him. Umesh Majusan has had a good game too, although he did go to the sin bin. So lots of options. It's been a very good team game from Havelocks. Omarka getting that ball away from dominant tackle. Charana Chamekara still standing strong, but Shaukat Lahir does so well. And Mithila Pereira goes over for the try. Does he? Yes, he has. Mithila Pereira scores. He's elated, but he's got to know that the match is almost over. So your thoughts, Abdullah, on a most valuable player for Havis?
Yes, as you said, Shankar, there have been some good performances. Lasin Dishan probably just ruled himself out as a result of that punch that he threw, and pretty lucky to get away as we have a look at that replay once again. And the ball was ripped out of one of the Sia players' arms, so that's why it was not ruled as a knock-on. It's just coming back to choosing the man of the match of today's performance. I think the front row again has stood out, but I think I'd have to give it to the lock forward, Chanaka Bandara. I thought he's been very good in the loose today. His defensive work, his work at the breakdown has been excellent as well. But also an honorable mention to Gayan Jayasekara of CRNFC. The 60 minutes he played, I thought he was outstanding. But probably my man of the match today would be Gayan Jayasekara, the Havelocks, Chanaka Bandara, rather, the Havelocks second row.
So Chanaka Bandara, not often that tight five players get man of the match awards, but this time he certainly deserved it. And that's an interesting penalty, because we saw Sharo Fernando leave his feet very clearly. If we can watch a replay of that, we'll show you what the issue was. And Niroshan Fernando will just trickle this one into touch, knowing that the game is over. And Sia will count themselves unlucky. A penalty may have just given them another opportunity to run at the Heavy's line again, but it's been a fairly hot-tempered game, an emotional game, which nevertheless has ended without too much trouble. Referees kept a lid on things most of the time. Missed a fair couple of crucial calls, though, I thought. And the Mathis Trophy goes by way of a double victory to Havelocks.
Yes, I think Sia can take a lot of heart from their performance today. They came into today's game under a cloud of mystery of what has happened to some of their key players, but they definitely stepped up. I think the senior players like Omalka Gunaratne definitely put their hand up today. And they blooded some young players as well, like Steven Sivaraj. I'm sure this experience will do them a lot of good, but eventually Havelocks just showing their experience at crucial stages. And once again, they're big-time players just standing up at the correct time.
Well, 2 tries came off 2 successfully completed lineouts, Abdullah, for Sia. Shehan Dias and Sven Muller combining, and they scored a couple of very good tries. And you can just see where the Achilles heel is. Havelocks, on the other hand, 31 points to 24. They didn't have as much ball as they usually get because Fajuddin was misfiring a little bit today. Here's the try created by Lashindu Ishan. If he hadn't thrown that punch, and he certainly would have been a man-of-the-match contender. Lovely try by Dinu Amarasinghe. Gayan Jayasekara looking over the wrong shoulder there. Should have heard Amarasinghe thundering up on his right. And here's the ball to Omalka Gunaratne, straight through Shaukat Lahir, who responded well, I have to say. But that try took a lot of stopping. Rafaidin with the kick. And here's Chamod Fernando coming into the game for one of the very few times in this match. And Rafaidin does well to drop his shoulder into Riza Mubarak's cover tackle. And that was when the game was tied up. But this was a moment of magic that destroyed any chance of a grand Sia comeback. Mithun Hapagoda dancing through Kevin Dixon's tackle and doing what can only be described as a paraplegic running man. And here's a try that put the icing on the cake. Dushmanta Priyadarshana knows exactly where to drive into and goes over in the tackle of Chamod Fernando. Mithila Pereira will get his derby try, but it will be only a consolation. Havelocks were leading comfortably 31 points to 17 to 19 at that stage. And it finished 31 points to 24. Abdullah, it's been a weekend of 1 score. And we had 1 score between Police and Kandy, 1 score between Army and Navy, and 1 score now, at least on the scoreboard, between Havelocks and Sia. A bonus point for CRNFC as well. But Havelocks winning with a bonus point and keeping the heat on Kandy. Just the 3 points between the table leaders and the second place.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a wonderful weekend of rugby. Even yesterday, Shanaka CHNFC being run very close by Air Force as well. Just a try separating both teams on that occasion as well. So it's been a very keenly contested weekend of rugby, and I'm sure as this tournament goes on, it'll be even more so. But from Sia point of view, I think they would be a bit disappointed. I think that first 20 minutes, they needed to have got something out from their effort. Because against a team like Havelocks, you just cannot allow opportunities like that to just slip past you. As we have a look at the updated points table.
Kandy still in the lead as a result of their win today against Police. 55 as against 52 from Havelocks. 3 less bonus points, but the win and loss columns are the same. CHNFC still sitting pretty in that number 3 position, and CRNFC moving back up to 4th place with 29 points, but 10 points adrift of CH, so it will be really difficult for them to catch that up. And Army, Navy and Police in a helter-skelter battle for the remaining places. So that brings us to the end of a wonderful match of rugby here under lights at Havelock Park. Always good, always more intense, these night games. This is what we can expect. Next week, CR will play the high-riding Army, trying to win 3 matches in a row will be Army next week. And then we have Kandy playing Navy. What can happen in that game? It's up in Nithawala though, so Kandy will be favourites. Police take on CHNFC. Look for Police to maybe pull off an upset there. And Havelock's taking on Air Force, and look for Havelock's to pile on the points in that game as well to try and keep that pressure on Kandy Sports Club. Havelock's will be hoping Navy does them a favour, but that will be difficult up in Nithawala as well. So lots of rugby action coming up next week on this Dialogue Rugby League. Don't forget to join me on the breakdown every Tuesday at 6:30. That's when that that segment will be aired. Rugby Pity also at the same time on every Tuesday, and the Try of the Week every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. I'm sure Chamara Dabare will feature heavily on some of those segments as well. So that brings us to an end of today's broadcast. Thanks a lot for joining us for this Mathis Trophy update from Havelock Park. From Abdullah Yusuf and myself, from the rest of the Papare crew, it's good night for now.
Sophisticated selection of Yardley, London.
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, cheesy treats, we want more.
Crescent Mini Keeves. Try it. Love it. The original Mini Keeves, only from Crescent.
Sophisticated selection of Yardley, London.
Breeder fast Pulsar NS160 with wider tyres and twin disc brakes from David Pieris Motor Company Private Limited.
Sophisticated selection of Yardley, London.
Crunchy munchy.
Fiery Kochi.
Crescent Kochi Bites. Try it. Love it. The original Kochi Bites, only from Crescent.
Sophisticated selection of Yardley, London.
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, cheesy treats, we want more.
Crescent Mini Keeves. Try it. Love it. The original Mini Keeves, only from Crescent.